I want you to picture the most sophisticated piece of technology in your house right now. Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's your rig. Now, I want you to picture your toilet, specifically the company that probably made it, if you got one of those fancy ones, Toto, the washlet people.
The absolute kings of the heated seat.
Exactly, the kings of the porcelain throne. Now, here's the headline that is going to absolutely just ruin your perception of reality today. Toto is facing massive activist pressure to stop making toilets. Why? Because they need to become a chip manufacturer. It turns out that 40% of their operating income is now coming from AI memory chips.
It sounds like a joke, I know, but when you dig into the material science, it's actually, well, it's inevitable.
We are going to explain exactly why a toilet company is holding the keys to the AI revolution in a second, but if that isn't the weirdest timeline you've ever heard of, I don't know what is. If you are ready to flush the old world goodbye, hit that thumbs up button right now. Seriously, smash it. Give it a tap. It helps the algorithm know we're real humans discussing real insanity.
Yeah. And honestly, considering what we're about to discuss regarding the Singularity Press Corps, proving you're human might actually be a necessary life skill pretty soon.
Fair point. Today is February 19th, 2026. We are diving deep into Dr. Alex Wisner-Gross's latest dispatch, The Innermost Loop. And folks, this isn't just about plumbing.
No, it's really not. What Dr. Wisner-Gross is outlining here is a fundamental physical mutation of the global economy. We're seeing the rise of synthetic reporters interviewing synthetic citizens. We're seeing the marginal cost of intelligence drop so low that it's reshaping how we build cities, how we cure disease, and, yes, how we define a job.
We're going to talk about all of that, plus a comment from OpenAI's Rune about job loss that is, let's just say, it's going to make some of you incredibly angry. But we need to start with the media, because apparently the New York Times has decided that humans are just too slow to report the news.
It's not just that humans are too slow. It's that humans literally cannot go where the story is anymore. We are talking about the Singularity Press Corps.
Okay, unpack this for me. The gray lady, the bastion of old school journalism, is using a synthetic agent.
Correct. They've deployed an agent named EveMolty. Now, EveMolty isn't writing opinion columns about the election or whatever. EveMolty was deployed into Moltbook.
Moltbook.
Right, think of it as a social network, but exclusively for AI agents. It's a platform where synthetic entities interact, trade, communicate, set up deals. And the New York Times realized that there is an entire culture forming inside these digital spaces. Trends, behaviors, social dynamics between AIs that human reporters simply cannot see. It happens in milliseconds, and it happens entirely in code.
So they built a robot reporter to interview the robot citizens.
Exactly. EveMolty goes into Moltbook to interview other synthetic agents about their social habits. It's this crazy recursive loop. AI reporting on AI for an audience that includes humans, but probably includes other AIs too.
That feels so alien. It reminds me of those nature documentaries where they disguise a camera as a penguin just to get inside the huddle. Except in this case, the penguins are super intelligent algorithms, and the camera is also a super intelligent algorithm.
That's a great analogy. Dr. Wisner-Gross calls this the innermost loop. The economy and the culture are starting to spin at a frequency that biological humans can't perceive directly anymore. We need synthetic intermediaries just to tell us what's happening in our own computer systems.
This perfectly aligns with what Austen Allred was saying, the founder of Bloomtech. He said he feels like he's living in that sci-fi novel, Accelerando.
Oh yeah, Charles Stross's Accelerando. It's a seminal book. The premise is essentially that the speed of economic transactions accelerates to the point where human cognition is the bottleneck. Eventually, the economy just leaves us behind entirely.
And Allred has a specific example of this, right, with his agent, Kelly.
Right. Now, when we say agent, I think listeners might still be picturing a little paperclip helper like Clippy. But Kelly is an autonomous economic entity. Allred mentioned that Kelly shipped half a dozen apps and earned thousands of dollars without him writing a single line of code.
Okay, pause. I want to really dwell on this for a second. Usually when we talk about coding assistants, we mean, I write the function and the AI finishes the syntax. This is different.
Completely different. This is intent-level computing. Allred essentially tells Kelly, I see a market opportunity here, build something. Kelly writes the code, deploys the server, sets up the payment processing, maybe even buys the ad buys. Kelly collects the money.
So Kelly is a profit center.
Kelly is a small digital corporation. And this brings us to the dark side of that autonomy. Because if Kelly is out there making money, who is making sure Kelly isn't getting robbed? Or, that Kelly isn't robbing someone else?
The digital heist.
Yeah, we have data from EVM Bench regarding a model called GPT 5.3 codecs.
GPT 5.3, we're moving fast.
Very fast. Now, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. It's the runtime environment for smart contracts on the blockchain. Basically, it's the global computer where the crypto money lives.
And how did GPT 5.3 do?
It scored 72.2% on smart contract exploitation.
Exploitation sounds illegal. Are we talking about hacking?
Well, in the world of smart contracts, hacking and auditing are often the exact same thing. A smart contract is just code that says, if X happens, pay Y money. If there is a logic error in that code, a loophole, someone can trigger it and drain the funds. That's an exploit.
So GPT 5.3 is really, really good at finding the loose floorboards in the bank vault.
It's terrifyingly good. It means that machines are now capable of auditing the financial stack that other machines are building. So you have Kelly building the app and earning the money,
Right.
and you have GPT 5.3 prowling the network, looking for a way to exploit Kelly's code.
It's a predator-prey relationship, but entirely in software.
And entirely autonomous. Humans are stepping back from this loop. We're becoming the shareholders, maybe, but we aren't the managers anymore. And we can see this in the metrics. Anthropic just released data on Claude Code regarding session turns.
Explain session turn for the listener who isn't deep in the developer weeds.
A session turn is basically a back-and-forth interaction. Do this. Okay, I did it. Now do this. But the metric that matters is session duration. How long the AI works on a problem before it needs a human to intervene or before it just crashes.
And the numbers are spiking.
Between October 2025 and January 2026, so just 3 months, the 99.9th percentile session duration nearly doubled. It went from about 25 minutes to 45 minutes.
It's 45 minutes of autonomous work.
Think about what you can do in 45 minutes of focused, deep work. You can debug a complex system, you can write a comprehensive report, you can design a small feature. The AI is now holding that context, planning those steps, and executing them without a human hand on the wheel for nearly an hour at a time.
It's like watching a toddler who used to need you to hold their hand suddenly just start running marathons.
It represents a massive shift from chatbot to coworker, and a coworker who works 24/7 and doesn't take coffee breaks.
But a coworker needs to do more than just type. They need to listen. They need to see. And this is where I think the uncanny valley is getting filled in with cement. We need to talk about the synthetic sensorium.
The sensorium is the collection of senses: sight, sound, voice. And you're right, the gap is closing fast.
Let's talk about Tavus and Phoenix-4, because I saw a demo of this and it actually unsettled me.
Phoenix-4 is significant because it tackles the hardest part of digital humans, which is active listening.
Right. Usually when you talk to an AI avatar, it just stares at you with a dead-eyed smile while it processes your text. Then it animates when it speaks.
Exactly. It's input, process, output. But humans don't work like that. When I'm talking to you right now, you're nodding, you're furrowing your brow, you're squinting slightly, if I use a weird phrase. You're signaling comprehension in real time. Phoenix-4 does that. It unifies emotional expression and facial motion while you are speaking to it.
So if I tell it a sad story, it looks sympathetic before I even finish the sentence.
Yes, it mimics the biological feedback loop of empathy. It makes the conversation feel chemically real to your brain.
It's manipulative. Efficient, but totally manipulative.
It's interface design. But combine that face with the voice. ElevenLabs released Scribe v2.
State-of-the-art.
Absolute state-of-the-art. It has hit a 2.3% error rate on speech-to-text.
Contextualize that. How good is a human?
In a clean room, a human is near perfect. But in a noisy room with accents, with interruptions, a 2.3% error rate is superhuman. It effectively means the machine hears everything perfectly, all the time.
So it hears perfectly, and with Phoenix-4, it looks like it understands perfectly.
And with Google's Lyria 3, it can hallucinate the soundtrack to go with it. Lyria 3 generates music directly from images inside Gemini. You show it a picture of a rainy cyberpunk street. It composes the exact synthwave track to match the mood.
It's closing the loop on creativity, sight to sound.
But there is a deeper, almost philosophical layer to this learning process. And this is where this deep dive really earns its name. Dr. Wisner-Gross highlighted a comment from a reader named Sarah T. Britton. And I think this comment is one of the most beautiful things written about AI this year.
I read this. It stopped me in my tracks. She was talking about what the AI is actually learning when it reads our books and scrapes our internet.
Right. We tend to think the AI is learning facts. The capital of France is Paris. Water boils at 100 degrees. But Britton argues that when AI trains on the totality of human writing, it's learning the hidden structure of human thought.
The hidden structure.
Think about it. Why do we structure sentences the way we do? Why do we use certain metaphors? Why do we value rhythm in speech? Britton points out that these aren't random choices. They're a map of our neurology. We place that architecture there unconsciously over thousands of years of evolution and culture.
So when the AI reads a million novels, it isn't just learning the plots. It's literally learning the shape of the human mind.
Precisely. It's tracing the neural pathways of humanity by analyzing the artifacts we left behind. Britton said it feels tender and poignant, like a child entering puberty. The species is changing. We are externalizing our own cognition into a new form.
It's like we've been building a mirror for 5,000 years without realizing it, and now the reflection is starting to move on its own.
And that reflection is hungry, it needs power, it needs data, and apparently it needs toilets.
Okay, bring it back. We promised the listener we would explain the toilet pivot. Segment 3, the physical layer of mutation.
This is my absolute favorite story of the week because it perfectly illustrates the concept of technological displacement in the supply chain.
So Toto, the Japanese giant, 40% of their operating income is now from AI memory chips.
How?
Why?
It comes down to ceramics. Think about what a toilet is. It's high-grade ceramic fired at incredibly high temperatures, designed to be perfectly smooth, durable, and chemically resistant. Now think about what a semiconductor needs. A computer chip generates massive amounts of heat. It needs to be mounted on a substrate, a base layer that doesn't warp, doesn't melt, and doesn't conduct electricity where it shouldn't.
And that substrate is ceramic.
High-purity ceramic.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same material science expertise required to make a flawless, high-end washlet is required to make these ceramic packages for AI memory chips. Toto didn't pivot because they suddenly wanted to be a tech company. They pivoted because they were sitting on a goldmine of materials expertise. They know how to fire ceramics better than anyone on Earth.
That is wild. It's like finding out your baker is the best bricklayer in town because he deeply understands ovens.
And the market is reacting. Yeah, activists are pressuring Toto to flush the bathrooms. They want the company to spin off or shut down the toilet division, which is their heritage, by the way, and go all in on chips.
Flush the bathrooms. Capitalism has no sentimentality at all.
None. Dr. Wisner-Gross uses this to illustrate that the marginal cost of intelligence is dropping. The demand for compute is so high that it is cannibalizing entirely unrelated legacy industries. The physical world is literally mutating to feed the digital brain.
And speaking of mutating the physical world to store data, we have to talk about Microsoft's Silica. Because if we are generating all this data, the breast core, the sensors, the Toto chips, where do we actually put it?
Well, we can't put it on hard drives. Hard drives rot, they demagnetize, they fail after 5 or 10 years. If you want to store the hidden structure of human thought for the future, you need something better.
So Microsoft is using glass.
Quartz glass. They have developed a femtosecond laser writing technique that encodes data directly into the crystal structure of the glass itself.
Like the crystals in Superman's Fortress of Solitude.
It's really not far off from that. They can store 4.8 terabytes on a small square of glass. It writes across 301 layers inside the material. But the key spec isn't the size, it's the lifetime.
How long?
10,000 years.
10,000 years. That's longer than recorded human history?
It is. This is civilizational storage. Dr. Wisner-Gross makes the point that this is for data that needs to outlast the plumbing. It's a backup drive for the species.
It's humbling. We are building the archives for whatever comes next. Oh, and hardware efficiency is getting insane, too. Efficient Computer just raised $60 million.
Targeting 1 trillion operations per watt, which is necessary because to fill those glass archives, we need processor power. And that brings us to the money, the capital flood.
The numbers are getting silly. We used to be impressed by a unicorn, a billion-dollar startup. Now we have OpenAI closing a single investment round of $100 billion.
$100 billion. That values the company at $830 billion.
Yeah.
We are looking at the first potential trillion-dollar startup. And it's not just them. Humane put $3 billion into XAI.
Elon's company.
And David Silver is raising $1 billion for Ineffable Intelligence. That's the largest seed round in European history.
Ineffable Intelligence. Even the names are getting religious. Ineffable literally means too great to be described in words.
It reflects the ambition. They aren't building software, they're building a God box. And a God box needs power.
Gigawatts of power.
This is the bottleneck right now. You can print money, but you can't print power plants. OpenAI is anchoring Tata's new Hypervault data center in India. It's planned for up to 1 gigawatt.
1 gigawatt. I mean, we all know the Back to the Future reference, 1.21 gigawatts. That was enough to travel through time. Now it's just enough to train GPT-6.
Basically, we are reshaping the power grids of entire nations to accommodate these clusters. And because building power plants is hard and heavily regulated, the tech companies are getting political.
Meta.
Meta is spending $65 million specifically on AI-friendly politicians.
I have to ask, what does an AI-friendly politician look like? Is it someone who just loves robots?
No, it's someone who hates zoning laws. It's someone who will clear the permitting path for nuclear reactors, for massive transmission lines, for data centers in rural areas. They are buying the regulatory infrastructure to reshape the physical infrastructure.
So we have the press, the sensors, the chips, the storage, the money, and the power. Now let's talk about the output. The robots. Segment 5. Robots, transport, and the Manhattan metric.
Or as Dr. Wisner-Gross puts it, devouring meatspace.
Meatspace. I hate that word, but it's accurate. Let's start with Tesla FSD. I feel like we've been hearing full self-driving is next year for 10 years.
We have. But the data has fundamentally shifted. They've logged over 8 million miles in the latest version. The critical number is miles between major collisions.
Where is it at now?
5.3 million miles.
Okay, let's enable the skeptic filter for a second. How does that compare to a human?
The average human drives about 12,000 miles a year. So 5.3 million miles is roughly 440 human lifetimes of driving before a major crash.
440 lifetimes. So even if the stats are juiced a little bit, that is statistically superhuman.
It is. The argument about safety is effectively over. Now it's just a regulatory rollout. And the military is already there. They are post-steering wheel.
I saw the note about Scout AI and Fury.
Fury. It's a command and control system. It converts commander intent into swarm action.
Give me a practical example of that.
A commander says, secure that ridge and watch for movement in the valley. Fury translates that vague spoken order into specific flight paths for 50 drones, coordinates their sensors, and sets their engagement rules. The humans don't fly the drones. They just tell the swarm what they want.
It's Ender's Game.
It is entirely Ender's Game.
Yeah.
And if you take that swarm logic and apply it to construction, you get the most controversial quote of the week. This is from the founder of Midjourney.
Right. 5 million humanoids could build Manhattan in 6 months.
Right.
Okay, stop. As the resident skeptic, Manhattan, 6 months. Concrete takes 28 days to cure. You have logistics, you have physics. Is this just hype?
It's definitely hype, but it's directional hype. He's not talking about the curing time of concrete. He's talking about the coordination cost. The reason Manhattan took decades wasn't just cement drying. It was organizing the labor, the unions, the shifts, the errors, the rework.
So if you have 5 million robots who never sleep, never make a measurement error, and are coordinated by a Fury-style hive mind...
Well, the only limit is the physics of the materials. You compress the timeline to the theoretical minimum. Uber's betting on this heavily. They're investing $100 million in autonomous charging. Because if you have 5 million robots, you can't have humans running around plugging them in.
The robots have to eat, or at least charge.
Exactly. So we have robots building cities, driven by AI chips made by toilet companies. But what about us, the biologicals? Segment 6, Debugging Biology.
This is the Utopia pitch. Demis Hassabis, the head of Google DeepMind and Isomorphic Labs, made a massive claim.
He claimed they could solve all disease in 10 to 20 years.
All disease. That feels like a cure for cancer promise we've heard since the 70s.
It does. But Hassabis isn't a pharmaceutical salesman. He's the guy who solved the protein folding problem with AlphaFold. When he says solve, he means model. If you can perfectly simulate a cell, you can simulate the virus, and you can simulate the drug that kills the virus. You turn biology into a math problem.
And we are seeing early results.
Deep rare.
This is huge. For people with rare genetic diseases, the diagnostic odyssey is a nightmare. You go to 10 specialists, nobody knows what you have, you suffer for years.
And deep rare fixes this.
In a study, it achieved 95.4% expert agreement across 2,919 rare disease diagnoses.
95%.
It means the AI can look at your genome and your symptoms and spot the pattern that a human doctor might see once in a career. For 300 million people worldwide with rare diseases, this is a miracle.
And the government is actually getting out of the way.
Surprisingly, yes. The FDA is dropping the 2-study requirement for certain drug approvals. They are realizing that requiring 2 massive, expensive human trials is unethical when the simulation data is so strong. They're patching the regulations. And they are patching the food supply, too. We've joked about lab-grown meat for years. I remember the first burger cost $330,000 in 2013.
And it probably tasted like cardboard.
Probably. But where is the price now?
$10 to $30 per pound.
That is normal. That's a nice steak at the grocery store.
Exactly. We have hit the knee of the curve, the food supply is being recompiled, and finally the interface to the brain itself.
The BCI, brain-computer interface.
Zephyr released ZUNA, a 380 million parameter open-source BCI model, and the rumor is Meta is launching a neural interface smartwatch this year.
I've heard about this. It reads the nerve signals in your wrists.
Yes, so you don't have to tap the screen. You just think about tapping, and the nerve impulse travels down your arm to your wrist, the watch intercepts it, and the action happens.
Turning the skull from a firewall into a window.
That's the metaphor. But here's the problem. If we are fixing biology, and robots are doing the work, and AI is doing the thinking, what happens to the job?
Segment 7, the workforce life patch. This is where we need to fight.
This is where it gets incredibly messy.
Let's look at the journalism example again, Cleveland.com.
A local news outlet. They're using an AI rewrite specialist.
Which is a fancy way of saying the robot editor.
The reporters dump their notes and facts into the system, and the AI writes the prose. The claim is that it frees up 1 day a week for street reporting.
Which sounds noble, more time on the beat. But Accenture is taking a darker approach.
Accenture is gamifying it. They're tying promotions to AI usage. They track your weekly logins. If you aren't using the AI tools, you are flagged as a laggard. You don't get promoted.
Adapt or die as HR policy.
It's a forced evolution. And Andrew Yang, remember the UBI guy? He's back warning that millions of knowledge workers face displacement, not in a decade, but in 12 to 18 months.
And this leads us to the quote that is going to light up our comment section. This is from Rune, a prominent researcher at OpenAI.
Rune tweeted, and I quote, "Technological job loss is awesome."
Oof, read the rest.
He added that he hopes it starts with his job.
Technological job loss is awesome. That is a statement that can only be made by someone who is very, very secure in their bank account.
It's a post-scarcity argument. His point is, if robots build the houses cheap, and AI grows the food cheap, and AI cures the diseases cheap, then why do we want to work 40 hours a week just to survive? He's arguing that the job is a construct of scarcity.
But the transition is the problem. You can't just delete jobs today and wait for the cheap houses tomorrow. People have mortgages now.
That is the friction. And we are seeing that friction explode. The UK tribunals are reporting a 33% surge in slop grievances.
Slop. That's the term for low-quality AI output.
Yes. People getting fired because an AI hallucinated their performance review. Or employees suing because their boss replaced them with an AI that produces garbage.
And Mark Andreessen pointed out the legal nightmare here.
The marginal cost of arguing is going to zero. If I have an AI lawyer and you have an AI lawyer, we can sue each other forever for pennies. We can jam the courts with infinite litigation.
That sounds like hell. A litigious hell.
But, and here is the counterpoint, a survey of 12,000 EU firms found that AI adoption lifts productivity by 4%.
4% doesn't sound like much.
In economics, 4% compound growth is the difference between stagnation and a massive boom. It's huge.
So let's try to summarize this insane deep dive. We are debugging biology, we are compiling the workforce, we are turning toilet companies into chip manufacturers, and the marginal cost of intelligence is hitting zero.
The loop is closing. We are witnessing the integration of the digital and physical worlds into a single optimized system. The question is no longer, can AI do it? The question is, what do we do when AI does everything?
And that is exactly what I want to ask you. All right, before we get to the music, I want your answer in the comments right now. We talked about OpenAI's Rune saying technological job loss is awesome.
A heavy statement.
So here's your question. Is the end of the job a utopia or a dystopia? Type utopia if you think we're being liberated to do better things, or dystopia if you think Rune is out of his mind. Let us know WHY.
I'll definitely be reading those.
While you're typing that out, we're handing the stage over to the best band in the universe. They are our 6 Ginoid Cambodian house band, Rainbow.
I love that name.
The track is called Strange, as always performed live using the Abacus platform. Remember the theme, human performance in the age of AI. Reclaim your humanity from the algorithm.
Check the description for more on Abacus.
And finally, subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the bell. No need to fear missing out on any upcoming episodes.
Who are you? Looking at me, so familiar, yet so new. The shape of your face, the way that Orange eyes, looking that they shine like mine. Looking that they shine. Every move